When nightfall becomes the beginning of unspoken questions. Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the still of night, the lights turned off, but your mind lit up like midday? While the world drifts into slumber, your thoughts ignite a restless dialogue. What will tomorrow bring? Why didn't I finish that task? Am I even on the right path? These uninvited thoughts arrive quietly, yet the more you try to silence them, the louder they become. Sometimes, insomnia doesn't come from illness or noise. It begins simply because we carry too many unresolved feelings inside. Maybe you're jittery about an upcoming trip, anxious about a high-stakes meeting, or dreading a family gathering you'd rather skip. These emotions simmer quietly, never loud enough to explode, but just enough to steal your sleep away. And have you ever noticed that the fear of not sleeping can actually be the very thing that keeps you awake? The more you stress about needing to fall asleep to be rested for tomorrow, the harder it becomes to surrender to rest. A strange cycle begins. You're anxious because you're sleep deprived, and that anxiety only pushes sleep further out of reach. The endless loop of insomnia. Sometimes what keeps us awake at night isn't the noise outside, the glare of a streetlight, or even an uncomfortable pillow. It's something far more subtle and insidious. The fear of not being able to sleep. You lie in bed, watching the clock tick minute by minute. You close your eyes, shift positions, count backward from 100. Still, sleep doesn't come. And then the thoughts begin. I have an important meeting tomorrow. I need to fall asleep now or I'll be exhausted. Why can't I sleep? Is something wrong with me? These thoughts, laced with anxiety, stir your mind further, making sleep feel even more out of reach. And so begins a cruel and self-perpetuating cycle. Worrying about sleep, failing to sleep, increased anxiety, more sleeplessness, repeat. This is no longer just a restless night. It becomes a pattern embedded in both body and mind. Your brain starts to associate bedtime not with rest, but with stress. And just as the evening comes, instead of relaxing, your body braces itself. It begins releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, the very chemicals meant to prepare you for danger, not for sleep. Your heart races. Your mind scans for threats. You lie there, ready for a battle that doesn't exist. This is the essence of insomnia, the most common sleep disorder in the world. It's not just about not being able to sleep. It's about being stuck in a battle between your desperate need to rest and a brain that refuses to shut down. It's about the heartbreak of watching your bed, once a safe haven, turn into a prison of restless thoughts and silent dread. And the longer this continues, the more powerful the association becomes. Soon, you're not just afraid of not sleeping. You're afraid of going to bed at all. But this isn't weakness. It's the result of a powerful biological and psychological feedback loop, one that digs itself deeper the longer it goes on. Without intervention, this cycle can stretch on for months, even years, draining both your physical energy and your emotional resilience. Common reasons that keep you awake. Not every sleepless night stems from deep psychological struggles or mysterious inner turmoil. Sometimes the reasons are surprisingly simple. Maybe it's your partner snoring loudly beside you. Maybe it's a nagging back pain that makes it impossible to find a comfortable position. Or perhaps it's the weight of your responsibilities pressing on your mind, refusing to let you unwind. External disruptions can also throw your sleep into disarray. A long-haul flight across time zones, commonly known as jet lag, can confuse your body's internal clock. Even inconsistent sleep habits, like staying up late one night and waking up early the next, can send mixed signals to your brain about when it's time to rest. But here's the silver lining. These causes are usually temporary. Eventually, exhaustion catches up. Once the pain eases, the travel ends, or the stress subsides, your body will naturally reclaim the rest it needs. Sleep returns, slowly but surely. However, the real problem begins when sleepless nights stop being exceptions and start becoming the norm. When the source of insomnia shifts from external circumstances to something internal, chronic stress, anxiety, or the growing fear of not sleeping itself. That's when occasional restlessness turns into a pattern. And when sleep becomes no longer just a biological function, but a personal struggle. When fatigue can't overcome the disease, the struggle of a sleepless night. Have you ever experienced this? After a long, exhausting day, your body is drained, and all you want to do is lie down and sleep soundly. But when you lie down, despite the world around you quieting down, you feel restless and uneasy. Your eyes are wide open, your body aches, and it feels like something is holding you back from falling asleep. Even though you're exhausted, sleep seems to elude you. The battle against the disease within your body. This is not just a typical restless night. It's the silent battle between your body and mind. You can't understand why you can't sleep, even though you're utterly tired. But the reason isn't a lack of fatigue. It's because your body is dealing with chronic health issues. It could be a respiratory disorder, making it hard to breathe when you lie down, or it could be a digestive issue like acid reflux, causing pain and discomfort in your stomach. Sometimes it's hormonal imbalance, which keeps your nervous system in a constant state of stress and agitation. These issues don't just go away, and they prevent you from having a good night's sleep, even though you're exhausted. The vicious cycle of fatigue and anxiety. The situation worsens when these symptoms not only cause discomfort, but also lead you into a vicious cycle. Fatigue cannot help you sleep. The more tired you are, the more anxious you become about not being able to sleep, and this anxiety only makes it more difficult to rest. This cycle makes you feel desperate. You're not just dealing with physical health issues, but you're also suffering from the mental burden of worrying about sleep. You can't help but feel powerless against your body. The more you try, the further sleep seems to slip away. Sleep becomes the enemy. What starts as a slight concern soon transforms into a psychological torment. Every night, when the lights go out, instead of feeling relaxed, you feel afraid. The dark room is no longer a sanctuary. It becomes a battlefield. You can't escape the anxiety of trying to sleep. Thoughts like, will I ever fall asleep? Keep running through your mind, making it even harder to rest. Sleep, no longer a place of rest. As each night passes, you start to fear your bed, your room, and even the very idea of not being able to sleep. Sleepless nights not only wear you down physically, but also take a toll on your mental well-being. Sleep is no longer something simple. It becomes an endless internal struggle. When you can't sleep, the fatigue you feel doesn't just affect your body, it also overwhelms your mind. This is no longer a disrupted sleep pattern. It's a relentless battle between your body and an unmanageable state of stress. Extreme stress makes the brain sound the alarm. When stress becomes overwhelming, the body automatically triggers its fight-flight-freeze response. This deeply ingrained survival mechanism, hardwired into our brain, is designed to protect us from potential danger. In this state, our body floods with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing us to either confront or flee from a perceived threat. As these hormones surge into your bloodstream, your heart rate increases and your blood pressure rises. Your body is ready to react, but in the absence of a real threat, these physiological responses serve no practical purpose. Instead of relaxing into rest, your body remains in a heightened state of alertness, making it almost impossible to unwind. Every part of your body is on high alert, waiting for danger, no matter how small or insignificant it may be. This heightened state of stress also makes your brain more sensitive to even the smallest sounds or sensations around you. Every little noise, every unfamiliar feeling seems magnified, and you can't seem to ignore anything. Your body remains primed for action, but your mind stays locked in a loop of anxiety and hypervigilance, preventing you from feeling at ease. In this state, sleep becomes nearly impossible. What should be a peaceful environment, like the quiet of night, turns into a source of anxiety, with every rustle and creak of the house becoming a potential threat. This relentless state of stress makes falling asleep seem like an unattainable goal. Poor sleep quality. Despite being able to sleep, for those suffering from insomnia, sleep is not truly restful. Although they may fall asleep and remain in bed for several hours, their brain doesn't enter the deep, restorative stages of sleep. Instead, their mind stays active, often racing through thoughts, worries, and stressors, preventing them from achieving the level of rest their body and brain need to recharge. When we sleep, our body should be in a state where it can repair itself and restore energy. However, in the case of insomniacs, the brain continues to operate at a high level, preventing the body from getting the full benefit of sleep. This continuous activity during sleep results in the brain consuming glucose, its primary energy source, at an unusually fast rate. Normally, during deep sleep, the brain conserves this glucose to provide energy for the waking hours. But for someone who is unable to rest properly, the body works overtime, depleting the brain's supply of glucose, leaving the individual with a feeling of mental and physical fatigue. The result of this poor sleep quality is that, when they wake up, insomniacs feel drained, confused, and emotionally exhausted. This lack of restorative sleep means that the brain has not had the chance to refresh and clear itself, which leads to a state of constant mental fog and physical weariness. The stress and exhaustion only deepen, setting off a new cycle of anxiety about sleep, and the pattern of sleeplessness continues. What happens when insomnia persists? When insomnia continues for a long period, it can develop into chronic insomnia. This means the sleep problems are no longer just occasional or temporary. They become a constant issue, lasting for months or even years. Chronic insomnia makes it extremely difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep night after night, and it doesn't just go away on its own. The consequences of chronic insomnia are not limited to just tiredness. Over time, persistent sleep deprivation starts to affect mental health, often leading to the development of anxiety and depression. These two conditions frequently go hand in hand with insomnia, and one can make the other worse. For example, anxiety about not being able to fall asleep can increase the stress and fear around bedtime, making it even harder to sleep. On the other hand, lack of sleep can contribute to feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and irritability, which are key symptoms of depression. What makes chronic insomnia even more challenging is that anxiety and depression tend to feed off each other. The more anxious a person becomes about not being able to sleep, the worse their insomnia gets. And the more sleep-deprived someone is, the more likely they are to feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, such as sadness and helplessness. This cycle creates a vicious loop. One problem worsens the other, making it incredibly difficult to break free. As the cycle continues, the impact on a person's overall well-being becomes significant. Their mood, energy levels, work performance, and relationships can all be negatively affected. This makes it even harder to cope with both the insomnia and the emotional distress, turning a once manageable issue into something much more serious and complicated. The vicious cycle can be broken. The cycle of insomnia and its associated stress doesn't have to be permanent. While many people immediately turn to medications to solve their sleep issues, the real solution often lies elsewhere. Medication may help in the short term, but it doesn't address the underlying causes of insomnia. To break the cycle and find lasting relief, it's essential to focus on the root causes. The key to breaking this vicious cycle is stress management and changing the way we view sleep. For many people struggling with insomnia, the stress of not sleeping becomes a major source of anxiety, which only makes the problem worse. By learning to manage stress through relaxation techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, or even physical exercise, individuals can calm the mind and body, reducing the heightened state of arousal that makes it difficult to sleep. Another important factor is shifting your perspective on sleep. Many insomniacs worry excessively about their inability to sleep, which only intensifies the stress. By reframing sleep as a natural, restful process rather than something to be feared or controlled, individuals can alleviate the pressure they place on themselves to perform during the night. This shift in mindset can be a game changer in overcoming sleep-related anxiety. A critical step in overcoming insomnia is to establish healthy sleep habits and a consistent bedtime routine. Creating a positive relationship with your bedroom is essential. The bedroom should become a place for relaxation and rest, not a source of anxiety. This means making changes like keeping the bedroom cool, quiet, and dark to create a calming environment, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, to regulate your body's internal clock, and avoiding the use of your bed for anything other than sleep. If you can't sleep, get up and engage in a relaxing activity until you feel sleepy. By building a healthy sleep routine and managing stress, you can gradually reset your body's natural sleep rhythm. Over time, this positive cycle can replace the stress-fueled one, allowing you to experience better sleep and improved overall well-being. Simple yet effective practices. Creating the right environment and adopting healthy habits can play a significant role in overcoming insomnia. One of the first steps is to ensure your bedroom is conducive to sleep. Keeping your room dark, cool, and quiet can minimize distractions and signals that your brain might interpret as threats. This helps create a peaceful, safe space for relaxation, making it easier for your body to wind down. Another essential practice is to use your bed exclusively for sleeping. Avoid watching TV, eating, or working in bed. If you find yourself unable to sleep, it's important not to stay in bed tossing and turning, which can create negative associations with your sleep space. Instead, leave the room and engage in a calming activity like reading, meditating, or journaling. These practices help distract the mind and ease it into a restful state without reinforcing frustration. Establishing a consistent sleep schedule is also crucial. Going to bed and waking up at the same time each day helps regulate your body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up naturally. This consistency trains your body to understand when it's time to wind down for the night, leading to better quality sleep over time. Finally, it's important to avoid bright lights at night. Exposure to light, especially blue light from screens, can interfere with the production of the sleep hormone melatonin, making it harder for you to fall asleep. By minimizing light exposure in the evening, you help your brain recognize that it's time to prepare for sleep. Incorporating these simple yet effective practices into your nightly routine can have a profound impact on your sleep quality, leading to more restful nights and better overall health. Caution before using medication. When dealing with persistent insomnia, many people look to medications as a quick fix. Prescription sleep aids can sometimes be helpful in the short term, particularly for those who need immediate relief from severe sleep deprivation. However, it's important to recognize that medications are not a long-term solution and should only be used with caution. They often mask the underlying issues that contribute to insomnia, such as stress or anxiety, without addressing them directly. Over-the-counter sleep aids, while easily accessible, can be even more problematic. These medications are commonly available without a prescription, but they can come with significant risks. Many over-the-counter sleep aids contain antihistamines or sedatives that can lead to addiction or dependence if used for extended periods. Once you stop taking them, the withdrawal symptoms can be just as disruptive to your sleep, sometimes leading to worse insomnia than before. This creates a dangerous cycle where the medication itself exacerbates the very problem it was meant to solve. It's crucial to be aware that relying on medication can also lead to a false sense of security, where individuals feel they are managing their insomnia, but in reality, they are not addressing the root causes of their sleeplessness. In many cases, behavioral therapies and lifestyle changes, such as those mentioned earlier, offer more sustainable and effective solutions for overcoming insomnia. Always consult a healthcare professional before starting any medication and consider it as a last resort rather than a first-line treatment. By prioritizing non-medical interventions and being cautious about the potential side effects of medications, you can break the cycle of insomnia without becoming reliant on substances that may ultimately do more harm than good. You might not have insomnia. You could have delayed sleep phase disorder, DSPD. While many people struggle with insomnia, it's important to recognize that not everyone who has trouble falling asleep suffers from the same condition. In fact, approximately 8% of people diagnosed with insomnia might actually be experiencing a different sleep disorder known as delayed sleep phase disorder, DSPD. Individuals with DSPD have a biological clock that is significantly longer than the typical 24-hour cycle. This causes their sleep-wake cycle to be out of sync with conventional daytime sleeping hours. As a result, they often find it difficult to fall asleep at a normal bedtime, especially if they are trying to follow traditional schedules. However, the key point to understand is that this doesn't mean they are unable to sleep altogether. People with DSPD can actually sleep very well when given the opportunity to follow their natural, delayed sleep schedule. For instance, someone with DSPD may find it easy to fall asleep in the early morning hours and sleep deeply through the day. The challenge arises when they are forced to adhere to the conventional work or school schedule, which can cause frustration, fatigue, and social difficulties. It's essential to differentiate between insomnia and DSPD as they require different approaches for treatment. While insomnia is often rooted in stress, anxiety, or other psychological factors, DSPD is a physiological condition linked to the body's internal clock. If you find yourself struggling to sleep at normal hours, but are able to sleep well at other times, it might be worth exploring the possibility of DSPD. For those with DSPD, solutions may involve gradually shifting their sleep schedule or utilizing light therapy to help reset the body's circadian rhythm. Consulting with a sleep specialist is crucial in accurately diagnosing the condition and determining the best course of action for managing it. Profound conclusion and inspiration. Sleep is not a battle to be won, but a journey of healing with oneself. For many, the struggle with sleep becomes more than just a physical issue. It becomes an emotional and mental challenge that consumes their thoughts and energy. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we approach sleep not as something we must conquer, but as a vital part of our well-being that deserves our care, patience, and compassion? Taking time to reconnect with sleep is an act of self-love. It's about honoring your body and mind, nurturing them so they can function at their best. The relationship we have with sleep is deeply intertwined with our physical and mental health, and when we neglect it, we neglect ourselves. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of stress and worry about not getting enough rest, especially when you're struggling with sleepless nights. But remember, worrying about sleep can be just as detrimental as lack of sleep itself. The pressure to fall asleep can create a mental block, making it harder to relax and rest. Sometimes the best way to approach sleep is to let go of the fear of not sleeping, knowing that your body will find its way back to rest when the time is right. In this process, patience is key. Rebuilding a healthy sleep routine takes time, and it's important to be gentle with yourself as you move through this journey. Trust that with the right tools, mindset, and approach, you can restore balance to your sleep patterns, and in doing so, to your overall well-being. So don't let sleep deprivation define you. Instead, let the journey of healing your sleep be a reminder that you deserve peace. And with the right care, you can embrace the restful nights your body and mind crave. Take care of yourself and know that sometimes simply releasing the need to control your sleep is the first step towards truly restful nights.